The legislative assemblies of the Roman kingdom were political institutions in the ancient Roman kingdom. While one assembly, the Curiate Assembly, had some legislative powers, these powers involved nothing more than a right to symbolically ratify decrees issued by the king. The functions of the other assembly, the Collate Assembly, were purely religious. During the years of the kingdom, the people of Rome were organized on the basis of units called curia. All of the people of Rome were divided amongst a total of 30 curia, and membership in an individual curia was hereditary. Each member of a particular family belonged to the same curia. Each curia had an organization similar to that of the early Roman family, including specific religious rites and common festivals. These curia were the basic units of division in the two popular assemblies. The members in each curia would vote, and the majority in each curia would determine how that curia voted before the assembly. Thus, a majority of the curia were needed during any vote before either the Curiate Assembly or the Collate Assembly. Curiate Assembly. The Curiate Assembly was the only popular assembly with any political significance during the period of the Roman kingdom, and was organized on the basis of the 30 curiae. The king presided over the assembly, and submitted decrees to it for ratification. An interrex presided over the assembly during interim periods between kings. After a king died, the interrex selected a candidate to replace the king. After the nominee received the approval of the Roman Senate, the interrex held a formal election before the Curiate Assembly. After the Curiate Assembly elected the new king, and the Senate ratified that election, the interrex then presided over the assembly as it voted on the law that granted the king his legal powers. On the calends, and the nona, this assembly met to hear announcements. Announcements often dealt with matters such as the exact date of a future event or any upcoming intercalary months. Appeals heard by this assembly often dealt with questions concerning Roman family law. During 2 fixed days in the spring, the assembly was scheduled to meet to witness wills and adoptions. All other meetings were held on an as-needed basis. The assembly also had jurisdiction over the admission of new families to a curia, the transfer of families between 2 curiae, the transfer of individuals from plebeian to patrician status, or the restoration of citizenship to an individual. The assembly usually decided these matters under the presidency of the Pontifex Maximus. Since this assembly was the principal legislative assembly, it was responsible for ratifying laws. However, the rejection of such laws by the assembly did not prevent their enactment. Sometimes, the Curiate Assembly reaffirmed a king's legal authority, and sometimes it ratified a decision to go to war. Collate Assembly. The Collate Assembly was the oldest of the Roman assemblies. Very little is known about this assembly. The Collate Assembly met on the Capitoline Hill, and was also organized on the basis of the 30 curia. The purpose of this assembly was not legislative or legal, but rather religious. The Pontifex Maximus presided over the assembly, and it performed duties such as inaugurating priests and selecting vestal virgins.